Hey guys, I Saw Bear here, and today I'll be going over the updates 0.014 and 0.015 for the game Foxhole. In this video, I'll also take some time to talk about the dev stream and talk about what the future plans for Foxhole are. Let's get started. Okay, so real quick, the reason these updates are lumped together is simply because I haven't had the time to cover them individually. In addition, update 0.014 dealt largely with bug fixes, so I didn't feel it was as urgent to cover. Anyways, after Weekly War 8, the devs saw fit to change some of the mechanics surrounding spawning players. During the 8th Weekly War, the Colonials found out where the spawn locations were for the Wardens, and exploited this by placing pillboxes and foxholes right next to the spawn. This led to a lot of frustration. So from now on, foxholes and pillboxes will no longer fire at recently spawned players. This should solve some of the issues around spawning in the wild. Some map changes with this update include that the eastern bridge types have changed, and salvage locations have been moved slightly. Removing items from the outpost is more restrictive, and only 2 packed items can be removed at a time. Some basic game balances and other changes include heavy machine gun costs have decreased by 30%, smoke grenade costs decreased by 7%, production time for smoke grenades has been reduced by 16%, green ash has been reduced by 13%, and its production time has been reduced by 14%. Local chat text now appears above the heads of characters that are visible to the player, allowing you to communicate with nearby players. This brings me way back to the RuneScape days. Anyways, other than that, this update provided a lot of major bug fixes, and I'll link the patch notes in the description, because there's just too many for me to cover in this video. Moving on to 0.015. This brings a lot of changes, and those of you who've been role-playing medics will be really happy about this one. Bunch of new medical items have been added. This includes bandages for curing bleeding states. These are self-administered by the player. First aid kits, which restores another player's health. Trauma kits, which revive another player that has been critically wounded. And hospitals. These are structures that produce bandages, first aid kits, and trauma kits. Some of the gameplay changes that go along with these items include the bleeding state. Players now have a 50% chance to bleed when taking damage. Bleeding states can be removed by using the bandage, as explained earlier. Then you have the wounded state. When a player is killed by small ballistic weapons, they will go into a wounded state. Wounded players can be revived by other players with a trauma kit, and if a player has been previously wounded and revived, they won't go into a wounded state again unless they are fully treated by a first aid kit. This is fantastic for medical role players, because now they have the proper tools to be that perfect Rambo medic. Some other changes include faction flags and structures are visually more clear, so now there's less guessing as to whether that foxhole over there is yours or the enemy's. Servers have been optimized to reduce lag, and small adjustments have been made to the vote to kick system. A few other bug fixes have been included with this update. The devs do mention an issue with the wounded state. Sometimes players won't go into wounded state if they are busy with another activity, like deploying satchel charges or vaulting. They aim to fix this in the future. Well, that wraps it up for the updates. But now what about the stream? A few days ago, the devs had a stream on Twitch where they explained the future state of the game and things they're looking to implement. It's quite impressive. I only managed to stay for some of this stream. But some of the things they mentioned were expanding the map, as was always intended, and trying to extend the weekly wars so that they aren't resolved in a day or less. They're planning on adding strategical and tactical layers, and one of the biggest ones that I'm happy about is the development of character profiles. At some point in the future, now again, this is all a work in progress, you'll be able to customize your character in terms of gender, age, race, name, add on outfits or clans, whatever you can think of. They're aiming on putting this all in. And I'm really excited for what this holds, because that means the player base will stay more engaged with the game, and there will be a lot more variety on the battlefield. I cannot wait for some of these to be implemented. And that map looks awesome. Alright guys, that wraps it up for these weekly updates. Again, I know I had to lump these two together, Time constraints and other editing projects have been taking up my time, and I'm trying to expand my channel a little bit here. Depending on what content is in future updates, I might choose to lump 2 updates together just because of how fast the devs update the game. They keep updating Foxhole on a weekly basis, and it's really hard to make videos to keep track, especially with my university studies in the background. But anyways, enough rambling from me. As always, good luck, keep your heads down, and stay in your foxholes. Bear out.